Today we're going to be using this Seth Thomas clock here for all our demonstrations and repairs and cleaning and maintenance that we're going to be doing throughout this video. But before we get into removing the hands from the dial, I do want to mention one thing, is that the area and surface that you're using and the proper lighting that you're using in order to do your repairs. You should use as large of a surface as possible that you can find, a large table, a large workbench, something of that nature. Or a kitchen table if you have to do that. On the surface, I'm using here an actual beach towel and it's white because I can see all the parts if they fall down, like if this little screw falls down, and on this type of surface it won't roll off the table and not be looking all over the floor for the screw or the nut. So this type of surface prevents things from rolling off, and also can be easy. You can find your items as they fall, if they happen to fall as you're doing your repairs. So this type of surface is really important, and I highly recommend using or else you can use a felt surface too, also works very well. Another thing is lighting. I use these adjustable lamps like this, and they're very handy because you can get around and underneath and beside, and I always use two. Because you can have one on one side, one on the other side, focusing in on something, and two always works better than one. Just like they say, two heads are better than one, two lamps are better than one. So I highly recommend that you use two lamps. Now we're going to talk about removing the hands from the dial. And so we'll zoom up on to this little clock here, and this is what we're going to be using today to demonstrate. And I'll adjust the lighting here a little bit so we get a good clear picture. One thing you want to do before you get into clock repair is to make sure that the hands are not rubbing against each other, that there's enough clearance between the hands, between the minute hand and the hour hand, so that they're not rubbing each other or rubbing each other as they pass. A clock will actually stop because the hands can't pass each other because they're touching each other, or they may be touching the dial, or they may be touching the glass. If you close your bezel and it touches or hits the minute hand, which is usually the first hand that sticks out from the arbor, that could slow down or stop the clock, especially if your movement's not very strong due to a lot of dirt. So you need to make sure there's enough clearance between the hands. Some hands are removed by way of a screw. There's a screw right on the end here, and some are removed by way of a pin. This one has a pin, called a taper pin, that holds the hands on here. So the way you want to remove the taper pin is you can either grip it from the bottom and pull it out, or you can put your bottom of your pliers on the bottom of the arbor, put your other hand of the pliers on the top, and then just press down. And as you can see, that forces the pin down, and you can, with a little gentleness, pull it out the bottom. Now if you have some stubborn hands that won't come off, I always remove mine by hand, use my fingers. You can use what's called a hand remover. Now a hand remover looks like this. Here's a picture of a hand remover. Now the way this nifty little tool works is these little edges here go underneath the hands, which would be like right underneath here. And as you turn the screw and the screw comes down, it'll hit the minute arbor right there, therefore forcing the hands forward this way and removing them from the minute arbor. Now these are really nifty little tools, and they can be picked up for I think less than $10 at most of your clock suppliers. But I don't even own one because I always remove mine by hand. I usually reach in there with my fingertips, or if I need to, with fingernails. So first you take off the minute hands. And that came off pretty easily. And there's a little washers here that were in front of that. So you have the taper pin, the washers, and then the minute hand right behind it. Now the hour hand, it's held on by a steel split bushing, which is on over the cannon tube of the hour arbor, and sometimes they're a little bit stubborn. that one popped off. So fortunately I was able to get these off my hands pretty easily. Now as far as cleaning these hands, the best thing to do is to use like a Formula 409 and just wipe them off with a towel and clean them up, and they'll look really good. I wouldn't repaint them. That's not my preference. I like to keep the original patina, the original aged look, and just a little Formula 409 or just a little soap and water, and wipe them off and dry them carefully so that they're fully dry, so that to avoid any rust.